Okay, so a radical could be cube root, fourth root, sixth root, 28th root. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. So I have 2x plus 16 equals 36. How would I solve that?
Subtract 16 over and then divide by 2.
Okay, so subtract 16.
20 x equals 10.
And divide by 2, so x equals 10. You guys can do that in your head now because we've done it so much. Yes?
Yeah.
How about the next one?
Add 4 to the other side, subtract the x, so you get 2x equals 24. Divide the negative 1 over, and you get...
How about
2.
How about 2?
And then x equals 12.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't need a whole lot of work, do I?
32. You added the 4.
Oh, plus 4, 32. It's not 12. She said 24. I just was writing what she wrote. Okay, so 32. And so the answer is 16. Okay, so you guys have done this so much. I don't expect a lot of work, do I?
No.
No. Even if you didn't put the minus x plus 4, if you would have just put 2x equals 32, x equals 16, that would be enough work for me because you're not in Algebra 1 anymore, correct? Mm-hmm. So,
Well, I'm looking at the board.
Get your bag off the table, my boy.
okay. So, at this level, I'm not expecting a whole lot of work. I put minus 16, 22, 10. Okay? All I need to see is a little bit of your work because if I can't figure it out, then I've got bigger issues, right? But we're going to throw a little kink into it. Okay, so I have the square root. This is notes. Write them down. The square root of x minus 5, x plus 5, minus 1 equals 3. I am going to give you a very helpful hint. Your book doesn't do it, but I am going to highly suggest you start closing your radicals. Why would I suggest you close your radicals?
Because that shows that that's the end of it.
Right.
Because if it's open, you don't know how far technically.
Right. And especially because some of them, like when some typesets, the radical is just like that. No matter how big the radical is, that's all it is. So it's hard to tell what's in, what's out. Give your brain a break. It needs to think about other things, not where the radical ends. Got it?
Yep.
Okay, so how do you think we go about solving this? Add the 1. So I have the square root of x plus 5 equals 4. So now I need to get it out of the square root. Yes? So what is the inverse of square rooting something? Squaring. So if I do it to the left, I have to do it to the right. So I'm going to square the left and square the right. When I square a square root, I get the radicand. I get what's in it. If I cube a cube root, I get the what's in the radicand, what's inside. All I have to do is the inverse operation of what I'm given. That's it. So I now have x plus 5 equals 16.
And subtract 5, x equals 11.
So x equals 11.
Yeah, you're too slow.
I already
Okay. So what's different about the first example and the second example? Well, it's cubed. So I'm not going to square it. I'm going to what? Cube it. So what do I have to do first? Subtract the 2. Because I do not want to cube this quantity. Do you?
No.
No. We don't want to cube quantities, especially with square roots, if we don't have to. So I have the cube root of 2, or equals 2. Now, could I have written this as x to the 1/3 equals 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to show you both ways, okay? Because I like x to the 1/3 equals 2 better. My brain likes it better. What do I multiply 1/3 by to get it to 1?
3.
3. So that means I'm going to cube both sides. So cube and cube.
2.
So this is just 1, and I get 8. And this is x, and I get 8. My brain likes the exponent better. The radical, when I see a radical, my brain wants to make it not a cube root, but a square root. Doesn't matter which way I do the problem. No. But we have done with the rational exponents now, we've worked with them. Working it this way, would that keep you up on that practice as well? Yes. Okay. Okay, so try
Parkman. I lost our streak.
on your own. Try 'em.
It was three
Both of
digits
them?
long.
Both of them.
I'm sorry.
Both of them on your own.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that.
Mm-mm.
How was your weekend?
Jenna, it's Wednesday.
So, why can I ask about your weekend? I'm trying to be a nice person.
You're trying to avoid doing the problem.
No, I'm not, because I'm already done with it.
Are you both of them?
No.
Yeah.
Get x equals 11.
I got x equals 2.
X equals 4.
Yo.
Yo.
Oh, that should be a 2.
Yeah.
I didn't do it. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Oh, I was about to say.
Never mind.
Don't do that, please.
What's
I
a
skipped a
monkey?
step and I shouldn't have.
What's a monkey
How do you get x?
Yep.
It'd be 2. Oh.
Okay. So then x equals 9.
Yep.
Okay. Hopefully you at least showed me this, right? Everything we cannot square, cube, take it to the 4th, the 28th until it's all alone. That's the biggest thing to remember. Until it is the radical is all alone, you can't do the inverse operation.
What's for lunch?
Stop. Focus. I have no clue what's for lunch. Okay.
Okay.
So,
They have
no,
card games on
stop.
the table.
Solve for a variable, okay? So, we're obviously not solving for x because it's already solved for x, yes? What are we solving for? Y, okay? So I have x equals the square root of y minus 220 over 0.010583.
Okay.
This is obnoxious because I want you to not worry about how obnoxious it is. Obnoxious it is. Just do the math. Okay. If I'm solving for y, I got to get to y. So what do I have to clear first?
Just the bottom.
The bottom, the divided by. So how do you undo division? Multiplication. So I have point.
Oh.
So I have 0.010583x equals the square root of y minus 220.
Okay.
Yes?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. So now what?
Square.
Square it. So you gotta square both sides. So this would be 0.010583 squared x squared.
Yeah.
Y minus 220. What are you solving for? Y. You got to keep telling yourself Y so you don't automatically solve for X, right?
Why?
Now what?
Now you're
Add
gonna
220.
subtract. You're gonna add the 220.
You're going to add the 220. So I'm going to get Y equals 0.010583 squared X squared plus 220. Now, you are obviously not going to square 0.010583 by hand, are you?
I want to.
You want to?
No,
You have
it's
fun.
hard.
It's not that, I mean, it's multiplication, but we would use a calculator to do that, yes?
Yeah.
So if I didn't give you a calculator, you would leave it like this. If I gave you one, you would put that in your calculator. But you're going to have x squared in there. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, if I started with the square root, is there going to be an x squared in it when I'm done?
Yeah.
Because if I was going to solve it for x now, I would subtract 220, yes? Take the square root of both sides to get rid of the squared, and then divide. So just reverse what you did. Okay, so what am I going to do on this one? We're solving for not v, but what? D. What are we going to do first?
Yeah, 3.57.
Not minus, divide. Because that's 3.57 times the square root of d. So the square root of d equals v over 3.57. Then what? You're spacing.
Times the square root of D. Or
Not
root.
squaring.
Yeah.
So square both.
No, it's just.
So d equals v squared over 3.57 squared.
So can't you
Yes.
put parentheses around it? Like
You
how
could
it's
leave
written
it. You
up.
could leave it like this, but when you have a variable, that looks funny to me.
Right.
Because you can't do that division, but I can square 3.57 with a calculator. So it
I don't like.
I don't know. If I gave you a calculator, you would obviously not give me 3.57 squared. You would have a number.
Yeah.
So then you wouldn't leave it like that. So just because I asked you to solve for the variable, did I do it any differently?
No.
No. I don't understand, never have. In Algebra 1, you guys have a whole unit on solving for a variable, and it's like pulling hair to get you to do it. You know how to solve an equation, yes? But when I put two variables in there, your brain just like leaves the building. Remind yourself every step what you are solving for, and you shouldn't have a problem. So I think I have two more. Okay. No. Okay, this one says looking for extraneous solutions. You guys remember what extraneous was?
Something that you can't
Extra. Something that won't work. It's not in the domain. Okay, so on your worksheet you did yesterday, you had domain and range, yes?
Yeah.
So they were like greater than -5. Well, what if one of the answers I got was -7?
Don't work.
It doesn't work. So we gotta look for extra solutions. So what am I gonna do with this to solve it?
Well,
Square it. The square root's already there. But when I square the right, what do I need to put? Parentheses. So that means I have to FOIL that right, doesn't it? That's x minus 4 times x minus 4. So I get 3x minus 2 equals, what, x squared minus 4, so minus 8x plus 16. So I have a quadratic. What tells me it's quadratic?
X squared.
The x squared. So when I have a quadratic, I have to set it equal to what, and then what?
0 and
0 and factor. That's what I have to do. Or 0 and do the Pythagorean theorem, not Pythagorean theorem, quadratic formula? Pythagorean theorem, geometry's in my head. Okay, so I'm assuming we're subtracting 3x and adding 2. Why am I moving everything to the right?
To get X by itself. No.
No, to keep what positive?
The
The x squared, right? We don't want x squared to be negative because then we have to factor out a negative, and that's silly when you're moving things left to right, correct? Okay, so we're subtracting 3 and adding 2. So x squared equals x squared minus 11x plus 18.
Yep.
So the factors of 18 that add to 11. What? 9 and 2, and they're both negative. That was that easy because what is my leading coefficient?
How do you get?
What is our leading coefficient?
1.
1. So I don't have to go through the whole process, do I?
No. I was just confused because I already know that.
Okay. So x equals what and what?
9 and 2.
Okay, so 9 and 2. Do they both work? How do I know if they both work?
Plug them in.
Plug them in. Okay, so it doesn't have to be in detail. I just have to plug it in. Okay? So over here, I'm going to have the square root of 6 minus 2 is 4. So 4 is 2. And when I plug 2 into the other side, I get what? Nope. I get negative 2. Are those equal?
No.
No. So is 2 a solution? No. Okay. So let's make sure 9 works. So 3 times 9 is
27.
27. Minus 2,
25.
25.
5.
So 5. And then 9 minus 4 is 5. So 2 doesn't work. We don't scribble it out. We just what?
Extra.
We just cross it out. It is an extraneous solution. Because 2 is a solution. Is it a good solution?
No.
No. It's a solution to the quadratic we got, but it's not a solution when it involves the square root.
Yeah.
Is square root going to limit the things that work?
Uh-huh.
Because you can't put negative numbers in the square root, can you? No, and different things are going to happen. Okay? So, x equals the square root of 7x plus 8. What am I going to do first?
Square it.
Square it. Because the square root's already by itself, I can square it, yes?
Yep.
So square and square. Well, we don't have to FOIL it out because it's just what?
It's already there.
X squared equals 7x plus 8. So it's quadratic. Why is it quadratic?
Is it X squared?
Because the x squared, so I have to set it equal to,
0,
and then
and then
Negative.
factor.
factor, and then you get your answer.
Okay? So factors of 8 that have a difference of...
Factors of 8 and 1. 4 and 2.
No.
No,
5 and 3.
no.
Factors of
Jenna,
eight.
shut up.
5 times 3 is
8
15.
and 1.
8 and 1.
Negative 8 and 1. I said that first and you said no.
You said,
I did not say... I never had time to answer.
you said
You were
5
saying
and
5
3.
and 3 for some reason.
Well,
That's
you
fine,
just
but
named all of them, but...
That is not even
That's only
7.
1.
Okay,
So
anyway.
it's 8
At least I'm saying
negative
something.
1.
Anyway.
8 negative 1.
So, negative 1 and 8. So, I plug them in and verify, yes? So, I get negative 1 equals... Well, that would be... Well, guys, can the square root be negative 1?
No.
Why?
Because it can't. Because it'd be positive 1.
Because it'd be positive 1. The only way it could be negative 1 is if there was a negative out there, correct? So, is negative 1 going to work on this?
No.
Now, could negative 1 work other times?
I guess.
Depending on what you were given as a problem. So I have negative 1 equals 1, so that doesn't work. Okay? So that one doesn't work. What about 8? So if 8 equals 7 times 8 is 56
Plus 8.
plus 8 is 64, and the square root of 64 is
64.
8. So does it work?
Wait.
Yes.
Why would you not square 8?
Because you're not. You're multiplying 7 times 8.
No, the other side. The problem.
Because it's not squared. We put the squared. The
Oh,
orig-
that's not
it's
even there. That's not even there.
not even there.
I was
Okay.
confused
Oh,
sitting
but
here.
Carson, you could put it in the second step and it would work too, because you get 64 equals 64.
Yeah.
It
No, it's like
that's fine. Okay. I'm gonna check real quick. Okay. So all these equations are doing are just getting more involved, correct?
yes.
Okay. So what do I do?
Square.
Square. What do I have to remember about that left?
That it put parentheses around it.
Put parentheses around it.
Square it, so then it'd be x plus 2 times x plus 2 equals x plus 2.
So what's the left equal?
0.
X squared. Wait, give me a sec to cook. X squared plus 2x plus x squared plus 2x.
Yeah, you're wrong.
You're right.
No,
but
she's
no.
right, but she just had to combine like terms. She had 2x and 2x, so that gives you
No.
4x.
So you're right.
No,
So-
she.
So,
No, Carson. She was foiling in a different order.
I know. I'm just telling her you can just add those two.
Yeah.
It'd be fine.
Because remember the rule when you square it, you multiply the two together and times it by 2.
I'm trying to help you.
When you take a quantity squared, you take the first thing times the last thing. So x times 2 is 2x, and then times that by 2. And you'll get your middle term. That was one of those special rules when we did the multiplication. Or, Jenna, just FOIL it out.
I got
Okay.
it. I just.
Now set it equal to,
0.
So x squared.
plus 4x. No, make it 5x plus 6. Yes.
3, so you're negative.
But
Are we still recording?
no,
Yes, we are.
dude, I'm not.
Okay. Just slow down. Slow down.
Okay, I got
Okay.
yesterday's and you didn't, so.
I got it done.
Okay. Now,
Has to be better.
what? We need to stay focused, guys.
You factor.
Factor. So we get
It's 1 and 2.
1 and 2. So x equals.
X equals. Yeah, what you said.
Okay. So then I check them by plugging them in, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Well, negative 2 is going to give me 0 and 0, so that works. Negative 1 is going to give me 1 and 1, so does that still work?
Yeah.
Okay. So they both work. Are there always going to be extraneous solutions?
No.
No.
Okay. So, how do I clear 5 halves? The reciprocal, yes, I heard it.
By 2/5.
So 2/5. So take it to the 2/5 power. So over here we get 1, and over here, well, 1 to the 2/5 is 1.
Oh yeah, 1. Cool.
So x squared plus 5x plus 5 equals 1.
What about the 2/5?
What is 1 to the 2/5?
1 and 2/5. I actually.
What's 1 squared?
1.
What's the 5th root of 1?
1.
So 1 to the 2/5 is 1. Okay, now what? Minus the 1.
I was going to say set it equal to 0.
And
4 and 1. Plus 1 plus 4. Negative 4, negative 1.
do they both work?
Check.
No. Not -1.
Why?
Because
So negative 1 would give me 1 minus 5 plus 5. So give me 1 to the 5 halves, which would be 1. And then that would be negative 1. So negative 4 would give me 16 minus 30 plus 5. So that's 21. Yes? So then I get 21 minus 30 is 9. So I negative 9 to the 2
where do you get 30?
fifths. What did I get 30? Oh, that should be 20.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Sorry.
What do you want?
I'm tired. If I see an error,
So
I'm correcting it.
So that would be 1 to the 2/5, which is still 1. So do they both work? Yes. Now, you need to check. That check is going to be worth a whole point on your test.
Actually, no.
Because why do I need to check these? What did I throw into them that makes...
Extraneous solution.
Right, but what did I throw into them? That square root. Yes? Well, it's a fractional x... Jenna, it's a fractional exponent, which is a square root in this case, or
See?
cube root.
I'm right, Regan. What does it mean? Yeah.
Okay. This one, we're not going to do these two. I just want to talk about what we would do. Okay?
Okay.
What would we take both? What would be the power on the first one?
3 to 2/3. Wait,
3.
power.
Yeah, what power would I take it to? Be
So
careful.
the first one you take.
6/3. Wouldn't it be?
What?
2/3.
3's in the numerator. I don't care about the numerator. I care about the what?
2.
Denominator. Okay? I can, on the last slide, let me go back here. On the last slide, I touch it with my hand and it switches. On this slide, we took this by 2/5. Yes? Because it gave me what? 1. What would happen if I take 5 halves times 2? What would I get?
10, 5
1.
I get 5. Do you want to take this to the fifth?
Oh,
No. So why did we take it to the 2/5? So we got what?
what?
1. Okay, and then when we take 1 to the 2/5, it's easy. So it does depend on what you have. So here, when I'm looking at this one, I need to clear the 2. That is the only thing I'm truly concerned about, yes? But do you want to cube those two quantities?
No.
I personally don't.
Would be
So so to get rid of 3/2, we're going to take it to the 2/3
Thirds.
and take this to the 2/3.
Thirds.
So here we're going to get 1,
And here we're gonna get squared.
and here on the other side we're going to get squared. Well, is squared better than cubing?
Yeah.
Okay. So then I have to square. So what do I get when I square?
X squared plus 4.
Minus 4x plus.
Minus 4x.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know.
Plus 4.
This chair so bad, but I can't.
Okay, you guys all need to stop.
Stop.
If you can't stay focused through a problem, you're never going to be able to do the problem on your own.
You're right.
So focus. Don't worry about the chair. Okay, so now what?
Minus the x.
Set it equal to 0. So x squared minus 5x minus 12.
Can you stop judging me? I don't like your stinky face.
How about not 12? How about 14? I was like, 12? Where am I getting 12? Okay,
Your brain's working too fast.
now what?
Square.
Factor.
7 2. Negative 7 2.
Negative 7, positive 2,
7 and negative 2.
and then I have to check for the extraneous solution. Now, I said we could plug it in here, but would it be easier probably to plug it in there?
Mm-hmm.
If you did that right, it will work either place. Okay? So if I plug it in the second step, so negative 2 plus 18 is 16, and negative 2 minus 2
4.
is negative 4, squared is 16. So that works. So, and this is your check. That's all I need to see. So 7. So 7 plus 18 is 25 equals 7 minus 2, which is squared is 25. So do they both work?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I thought we weren't doing these ones.
we just did them. Okay, now what?
Okay.
Nope, not yet.
Subtract or add the 14 to the
'Kay.
other side and then the reciprocal.
Why do I have to add that 14 first?
Because then you would have to multiply 14 also by the reciprocal.
Right, you'd have to do this whole quantity,
Which is a lot.
but which would be horrible, which I don't want to do and you don't want to do. Okay, so add the 14,
Add the 14.
so
get
8,
And then you're going to multiply by the reciprocal.
2/3,
So you'll get x squared
2
minus 3x minus 6 equals.
Okay, so now we're gonna simplify this 2/3. Okay? Now, if we can do the root, we want to do the root first, correct? What root are we looking for? Third root. So the cubed root of 8 is what? 2. So it's nice. So we want to make it smaller before we make it bigger, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the cube root of 8 is 2. So now I have 2 squared, which is 4.
To the media center.
So x squared, but you're going to subtract the 4 over.
I'm going to subtract
So
my
you get
4.
x squared minus 3x minus 10. And that would be 5 and 2, so you'd be negative 5 and 2,
Pax
which would make
Adams,
5 and negative 2.
Olive Savy, Brandon Frerick,
And then you check that.
please report to the media center. Again, Lee Weiner.
Okay,
Jay Townsend,
Carson, you will want to watch the last
Spencer,
examples because you're going to have to do conjugates.
Olive Savy,
Alright.
Okay.
Brandon Frerick.
So now we check them. So again, we can plug them in either place. We can plug them in either place. I'm plugging them in right here. Everyone understand that?
Yeah.
With this is a what, 4? Okay, so we have to get 4 as an answer. So if I plug in -2, I get 4 minus 12 minus 6. So that definitely is not going to give me positive 4, is it? No. So that is going to be a no.
And then extraneous.
Yep. So if I plug in 5, I get 25 minus 15 minus 6. Well, that's 21. So 25 minus 21 is 4. So that one works. Okay. So again, do I show you my check even though it's not like,
How does that work?
what do you mean?
4 and 5?
No, this equals 4. We plugged in 5 and it equaled 4. And that's what we needed it to equal. Okay, so now they just get more involved. Okay, we have square roots. We have 2 square roots, not 1. So we've talked about it. We would square a square root, yes, to get rid of it. Do we want to square these 2 together? Do you want to FOIL that? No. You want to square when those square roots are separate, don't you? Okay, so we need to move one of them. It does not matter which one you move. I'm going to move x squared minus 2. Why? Why am I going to move this one? Anybody know? It's negative. So I would not subtract it. I would what? Add it. I'd add it to the other side. So I'm going to have the square root of x plus 9. Am I going too fast for you guys to be writing things down? Because Noah, you're not writing anything down. And it's kind of concerning me.
Nah, you should rerun over this.
No, those last 2 we were just going to go over. These are different. You need to be writing these down. And you're going to need more room than that, Noah.
Oh, I don't.
Yes, you do. Okay. So, do I have the square roots on both sides now?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so probably should do what to both sides?
Square.
Square it. So the left side's pretty easy. I get x plus 9, yes?
X plus 9 equals 9.
Now we have to FOIL. And we have to do it right. Okay? So it's going to be 9. And then I'm going to take 3 times the square root, which would be 3 squared of 2x times 2. So 3 times 2 is 6. So plus 6, the square root of 2x. Well, square root of 2x squared would just be what? 2x. Okay. Now, we've done it. We still have what there? When we square it, we've gotten rid of the square root every time, right? But did we get rid of the square root? Nope. So we probably need to move everything away from the square root and do what again? Square it. So I'm going to move the 9 and the 2x for sure. So I'm going to subtract 9. That's a 9 evidently. Subtract 9 and subtract 2x, right? So I get negative x equals 6 the square root of 2x. Everyone following? Why did I do what I just did? Why did we move this 9 and this 2? So we can do what with the square root? Square it. Okay? Now, there's still a 6 there, yes? But that is multiplication. If the x had something I could divide by 6, I'd move it right now. Does it? No. So I'm not moving it. But could you if you wanted to? Yes. So now I'm going to do what to both sides again?
Square.
Square. So negative x squared is x squared. Remember this 2 goes to what?
Both.
Both. So this is going to be 36 times 2x. So that would be what, 72?
72x.
x. So it's quadratic, so I have to set it equal to
0.
0. So x squared minus 72x equals 0.
And then
Set it equal to 0 and then set it equal to 0 and factor. This one doesn't have 3, it has 2. What do they have in common? X. So x not equals. X times x minus 72. So x equals 0 and 72. Now, do they both work? Well, I think probably plugging them back into there is the easiest thing to do, right? Okay, well, 0. So 0 plus 9 is 9. Square root of 9 is 3. And then square root of 0. So 3 minus 0 would be what? 3. So 0 works. How about 72? 72 plus 9 is 81. The square root of 81 is 9. Okay, 72 times 2 is 144. Square root of 144 is 12.
that works.
Nope.
No, that'd be negative.
Is be negative, and we can't be negative, right?
No.
So what was different about this one? How many times did I have to square it?
1, 2.
2. Okay. So what are we going to do on this one first?
Square. No. You're gonna add your 3x.
We're separating those because do you guys want to FOIL these two? No. Could you FOIL them? Yes. Do you want to FOIL them? No. So add the square root of 3x. And then square it. So the left I get. The left. X plus 4.
Equals -4.
Well, it'd be positive 4. And then it'd be -2 and -2, so it'd be -4. The square root of 3x. And then plus 3x. If I FOIL it all out, right? You all know how to FOIL that out. I just didn't show you.
No.
So it'd be -2 plus square root of 3x times -2 plus the square root of 3x.
Oh.
So you get 4 minus 2 square root minus 2 square root plus 3x. Okay. So now what?
Now you're gonna
Move everything but the square root over, right? So subtract 4 and subtract 3x. So -2x equals -4 square root of
3
3x.
and square it.
Then square it again.
And you get 4x.
4x squared equals
-8.
square 16 times 3x, correct?
I keep multiplying.
Okay, 16 times 3 is 48. And then what?
Move it over. You can take an x out. Honestly, you can take 4x out.
So subtract it over
And then
4x.
4x parentheses x minus 12 equals 0. So you're in. Oh, wait. Divide 4.
No. Well, yeah, but it's still 0. Yes?
No.
0 and
So,
12. Do you want to put it back into the original?
yeah.
Anytime it's equal to just a -2, that's the easiest place to put it, right? Because you're just doing it one side. Okay, 0. Well, 0 plus 4 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2. Minus 0 is 0. Is it negative 2?
I wasn't listening.
I'm putting in 0. So I get square root of 4 is 2. And then minus the square root of 0, which is 0. So 2 minus 0 is not negative 2, is it?
No.
No. So 0 doesn't
So
work.
0 doesn't work. 12 plus 4. 16 square root of
16
16
is 4.
minus 36.
Oh. Oh, 36. 36 is 6. So is that negative 2?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So 12 works.
We only had one more example, and it's just the same stuff.
Okay.
Okay? So we went a little longer than I